Hello everyone, I am Madhvi Gaur, Assistant Professor ABES Engineering College. Today I am going to discuss about tree. This will be the main topics which I am going to discuss in today's lecture. That will be basic terminologies, binary tree, strictly binary tree, complete binary tree, extended binary tree representation. One by one, we will cover all these topics. In basic terminologies, we will mainly focus on node. What is a node? Each data item in a tree is called a node. It means where we have to store the information related to given tree. That terminology is known as a node, where we have to store the information part of the particular structure. Second part is root. It is a special type of node which has no parent. That is a root. There can be only a one or single root in a tree. Path, a sequence of consecutive edges from the source node to the destination node is known as a path. It is a mainly sequence of consecutive edges which we have to follow from the source node to the destination node. Leaf node, which is also known as a terminal node, the nodes which doesn't have any further or successors or which do not have any child node is known as a leaf node or terminal node. Level of a node, the root node of the tree is assigned the level the number 0 and its children which will be at the level 1 is assigned as a level number 1 and then level number 1 child will further be assigned as a level 2. It means if a node is at level L, then its child will for sure present at the level L plus 1. We will study or focus on these all these basic terminologies through a diagram, which I'll discuss in the next slide. Next one is height of a tree. The number of edges from the leaf node to the particular node in the longest path. The point or the important thing is longest path is known as the height of the node. And the maximum count which is present at the root node that will represent the height of the tree. Let us consider an example. Let us consider this circle. Let us assign some value inside these circles. Then this circle where we are storing this information part, which is A, is known as the node. This is also representing root node here as it has no parent. The term B and C will be represented the child of or the children of root node A. This will be the children nodes of A. These B and C will be sibling to each other. These will be siblings to each other. This will be the path. Let us assume that we have to reach from A to D. Then the consecutive edges which has to be followed from A to D is known as the path. First of all, we will go through from A to B. Then we will go towards B to D. This is known as a path from reaching to A to D. If I want to calculate the height of a tree, then it has been noticed that the level, first of all, consider levels of a tree. Then we will focus on the height, level of node. We have to focus the root node is assigned at the level 0. And the consecutive children will be assigned at level L plus 1. It means it will be assigned level 1. All these nodes will be assigned level 2. And this node, as there is only one node, it will be assigned as level 3. Then we should understand what we mean by the height of a tree. It means, as per the definition, the number of edges from the leaf node to a particular node in the longest path is known as the height of that node. Let us assume if I want to calculate the height of this node, which is G, it will be height 0 because this is a leaf node. The node F, it is assigned at height 1. The node C, it is assigned at height 2. If I want to calculate the height of root node A, then it will be height 3. It means the number of edges which has to be followed from the leaf node to that particular node. Let us assume 1, 2, 3. It means this is representing the height of the tree. The maximum value which comes at the root node, that will represent the overall height of that tree. As A got height 3. It means the traversal from the leaf node to the root node. It means the number of edges which we have to traverse from the leaf node to the root node or the parent node of the overall tree is known as the height of that particular tree. Next is depth of a tree. The total number of edges from the root node to that leaf node in the longest path is known as the depth of a tree. Let us understand this concept with the help of an example. The total number of edges from the root node to the leaf node. It means this will be depth 0. The root node will always have depth 0 because we do not have to traverse any edge for reaching up to this node. That's why its depth is 0. For calculating the depth of these nodes, it will be depth 1. As we have to traverse only one edge to reach from this node to this node. That's why we have mentioned depth as 1. To access or to reach up to this node, the depth will be 1 and 2. It means the total number of edges from the root node to that particular node. It will be depth 2. At the end, if I want to calculate the depth of this node, it will be depth 3. So by this way, we can calculate the depth of any particular tree or any particular node. Now, the main focus is on binary tree. What do we mean by binary tree? Mainly, if I consider or talk about an ordinary tree, it can have any number of children. There is no restriction on the number of children or a number of child is in case of an ordinary tree. But if I apply some restriction on the number of children, then this terminology is known as a binary tree. Restriction on number of children. For example, if I'm talking about binary tree, it has the restriction that a particular node can have either 0, 1 or 2 children. At most, it can have 2 children. So this representation will be a representation for a binary tree. This will be considered as a binary tree. Next term is what we mean by a full binary tree. In case of binary tree, there is a restriction that a node can have at most 2 children. At most 2 children. It means either 0, 1 or 2. If I talk about full binary tree, it has a restriction that a node can have either 2 or 0 children. 1 is not allowed in this case. For example, if I talk about this representation, then it is denoting a binary tree. This is a normal binary tree, which can have at most 2 children. But if I apply or apply further restriction on this, that a node can have either 0 or 2 children, then it will be converted into a strict binary tree or full binary tree. Every node can have either 0 or 2 children. One as a child is not allowed. That's why this is the representation of a full binary tree. There is a term complete binary tree. If I talk about full binary tree, we have seen that a node can have either 0 or 2 children. One as a child is not allowed. But if I talk about complete binary tree, it is a special type of binary tree where there is a restriction that all the levels of the tree are filled completely. But there is a freedom that the last level can have the last lowest level which are filled from the as left as possible. What do we mean by this definition? Let us consider an example. Then we will be able to understand this concept mainly. In case of, if we are considering this example, this is denoting a full binary tree. Okay, if I want to make it a complete binary tree, there is a no restriction that it can have either 0 or 2 children. It is just saying that all the levels of the tree are filled completely except the lowest level. It means all these levels should have the full binary representation. It means all the levels should be completely filled except the last level. It means if there is a freedom that the last level maybe should not be filled. But if I want to fill or insert any node, then we have to try. The insertion should be done only from the left hand side only. It means this is representing the complete binary tree, as well as this is also representing a complete binary tree. This will also representing a complete binary. But if I insert a node here, then it will not represent a complete binary tree. For the complete binary tree, the last level insertion should be done from the left-hand side only. Then if I want to make it a complete binary tree, then it should be like this, where the insertion of the node should be done from the left-hand side. Okay? And there is an exemption that the last level should not be completely filled, but above this level, all the nodes should be completely filled. Okay, let us understand now the next term, which is the extended binary tree. Extended binary tree is also known as a two tree, in which a binary tree can be extended or can be enhanced, where the null subtree of the original tree are replaced with some special nodes. And these special nodes are called the external nodes, and it is represented by a rectangle box. Okay. Let us consider this binary tree where this binary tree will be converted into a two tree or extended binary tree. But there is a benefit that there is no constraint that each and every child should have 0, 1 or 2 child. It can have 1 as well. Okay. Let us consider this binary tree. This is a normal binary tree. If I want to convert or extend this binary tree into two tree, then all the null subtrees will be replaced by a spatial node. Okay, let us consider this example where this node have one child, but as per the definition of two tree, a node can have 0 or 2 child, where a 0 node will be represented by the external nodes and each internal node will have 2 nodes as a child. But we cannot directly add a circle here because we do not have information part here. That's why we will add some external nodes here, which is a spatial node. We have to make it 2. Another, we have to make 2 childs here because no, at the leaf node should be only the external nodes. That's why each and every node should have either 0 or 2 child. where the leaf nodes, all these are representing the leaf nodes, where the leaf nodes will be represented by the external nodes. And above these external nodes, all nodes will be considered as internal nodes. And internal nodes will be represented by circle only. Okay? Leaf nodes will be represented by external node and internal nodes will be represented by normal circle. We have to mention that leaf nodes will be represented by the external nodes by the circle, and the internal nodes will have two children. We can see here, this is the internal node and it has two child. This is the internal node, it has two child. This is the internal node, it has two child, and we can see at any other level as well. Next topic is binary tree representation. We can represent our binary tree through two methods. One is array and second one is linked list representation. Let us understand first the array representation of binary tree. Let us consider an example. The one important point to be noted here, the nodes of a tree are stored level by level. Okay, we have to start the level from the 0 and the root node will always start stored at the index 0. Let us consider an example. If I want to store this information or represent this binary tree into array format, then the accessing will be done by level by level. This will be level 0 as we have studied earlier. The root node is always stored at the level 0 and the subsequent children will be level plus 1. There will be 3 levels total. It will be level 2. Okay. We have to start or store the root node at the index 0, which is A. And we have to store all the subsequent children in level by level order. It means the direction will be like this. We have to store all the information as per the level by level defined method. Okay. First, we have stored A. Second, we have stored B, which is stored at index C, index 1. Then C, which is stored at index 2. Then D, which is stored at index 3. Then E, which is stored at index 4. Then F. And then G. Total there are how many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the array index will be from 0 to 7. 0 to 6. For the 7, if I want to store all these elements, then there will be an array of A of 7. Okay. This will be the method for defining it. Okay. 0 to 6. If I want to define the generalized formula for calculating, let us assume this is present at ith index. And I want to calculate the, if I want to calculate, let us consider here. If I want to calculate this ith index, left and right children. So left child will be present at 2 into I plus 1 and right child will be present at 2 into I plus 2. Let us verify. For this. Let us assume if I want to calculate the root node A, left and right child, at which location they are present. Root node is present at 0. So I will work as 0 here. If I want to calculate the left child, the formula will be 2 into 0 plus 1. It means at index 1, the left child B is present. We can see here at index 1, B is present. For the right child, it will be 2 into 0 plus 2. It means the index 2. At index 2, the right child of A is present. Now, if I want to calculate the parent of particular node I, the parent for particular node I, that will be given by floor value of I minus 1 by 2. Let us consider. Let us consider what is the parent of C. It is available at which location? Then we have to first define parent of I, which is present at index 2. It will be 2 minus 1 divided by 2. It will be 2 minus 1, 1 by 2. It will be give you 0 point something, but we have to consider only the floor value, which is 0. It means the parent of C is available at index 0, which is A. Yes, we can verify from here that the parent of C, which is A, is present at index 0. So this was the array or sequential representation of a binary tree. Now move forward for the second representation, which is the linked list representation of a binary tree. For a linked list representation, if I want to store the information part of a binary tree, for storing all these information, there are three components which are important or which has to be stored. That is info, left child, and right child. These two will be the pointers which will store the left child address and the right child address, and it will store the root node value or that particular node value. For storing all these information and for accessing, we have to declare a structure for a corresponding node. In case of binary tree, it will store as char if we are talking about ABCD, or we can have integer type of information as well. Then there will be a left child, which will be a pointer to a self-referential structure. Then there will be a right child as well. So this is a structure declaration corresponding to a node. Now understand this concept with the help of an example. How exactly these binary tree will be stored inside a memory. Let us consider this full binary tree representation. I am providing the indexes here. And let us consider some random addresses corresponding to all these elements. I have given some random addresses to all these elements. There is no proper sequential order. Okay. Now, if I want to construct a linked representation binary tree corresponding to this binary tree, it will be like this only. As each node will have three parts. First one will be the information. This will be the left child and this will be the right child. As per this diagram, we can notice A has a left child as B, which is stored at address 3000, whereas the address of right child is 4000. Now, this pointer will be consists of the left child of a B tree, binary tree, which is A as a left child, which is B. And for the 4000, it will point to C. B left child consists of 5000 as a left child address and right child address as 6000. Whereas C has a 7000 and 8000. This 5000 will be connected to the D information part. And this 6000 will consist of E. Similarly here, it will consist of F and this will consist of G. D do not have further left child. That's why it will contain null here as well as for right child as well. Similarly for E, similarly for F, similarly for G. So this is the linked representation of a binary tree corresponding to this diagram. where each node will consist of three segments. One will be the information part, one will be the address of the left child, and one will be the address of the right child. These are the references which I referred for covering all these topics. I hope you got to understand all these concepts. In the next topic, we will basically focus on the tree traversal techniques. Thank you all for the patience listening.